girls are groomed from high school, from primary school to be leaders, where girls are taught to be assertive. That's where this inclusion, where this theme will actually mean, will actually matter. Because when you have young girls who are not assertive, who has the capacity, but societal values and societal expectations expect them to be humble. Like they always say, you as a woman, you need to be seen and not heard. So they have parents who taught them that, and they are still living that life. So we need to start to move away from that to be able to have more women. And if we don't have more women in places of authority, it would be so hard to meet the 35% affirmation. It's just impossible. Because
Well,
if these men,
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. You can wrap up that.
if the men are the ones, if the men are the ones who are supposed to make these decisions on women having 35% affirmation in everywhere, tell me, where are the men in the nursing profession? It's filled with women. Did these women? Did we not find? Do we not have men as regulatory bodies that could impact this profession and make it purely male dominated? No. If you look at the law, if you look at lawyers, it's purely female dominated. Did you go to the call yesterday? He had, most of it were female. If you go to the medical line, you also find a whole lot of females. So what are we missing? How did those professions get more female input? And then governance and every other thing that has to do with the general population has very few female input.
So
And yet the female input is
when we talk about mentoring these women, there are a whole lot of other factors that, affect the way a woman will actually turn out. It's no news. I'm taking it outside Nigeria that some women suffer major harm, especially during war and other forms of conflict. And in most cases, they still have to hold their families together, irrespective of the position they hold. I'm using the war in Gaza as an example of this. Has there really been any progress as regards ensuring safety and security of women in these times?
The United Nations is trying its bit. NGOs are also trying their bit. But the most important help that can help those women in Gaza is psychological help, social help, social welfare help, mentoring. Mentoring won't be there. For those women in Gaza, it is you need to first of all mentally be stable. When you are stable mentally, then we can talk about mentor mentee. Those women have been bruised, and some have been raped. Some children have been raped. Some children have been killed in those areas, and most women can't find their husbands, can't find their sons. So there's a lot of psychological issues going on. And then when the war is over, these women still have the effect of the trauma, the post-traumatic syndrome of those events. And we need to gradually get them out of there and get a mentor for them that will help them. Because women are not advocates for wars. It's about time countries start to place women at the head of affairs. They are not advocates for wars. They are mediators. They come in and they find solutions to problems. And that's what we do at home. So I think the mentor-mentee will not work in somewhere like Gaza without the mental stability of the person. I am an occupational therapist. So I work with persons with who have schizophrenia, who have bipolar, persons who have post-traumatic syndrome of any disorder, So I truly know that when somebody has gone through, be it rape, be it emotional harm, a lot of people are married to men who damage them emotionally. And when a woman is damaged emotionally, it's pretty hard for the woman to get off their shell and start to hold their head high. What you see is that they've been damaged emotionally, they succumb to the voice of the male, be it good, be it bad. And these men do it deliberately because they find the women as threats. And when they find the women as threats, the only way they can move towards controlling them is to give them emotional. So when you have children from such homes, those are the ones that actually need mentor outside the home.
What I
Because those
understand
children are the
from
worst.
what you have been saying is the fact that we need different approaches for different situations. Let's also consider the personality factor, such as encouraging honest conversations and allowing women to speak up for themselves rather than hide behind men is important. We still have women who cannot speak up for themselves in this day and age. And we understand that this is a personality issue, and not many are strong enough to do this. We also have the factor of feminism that is coming online. At what point do we draw the line?
We as mothers, we are the ones who have this job to do. It's not because women have already been trained from the home to be submissive. And generation to generation, that is a norm. So how do we get these young girls who needs to be assertive, these young girls who do not have to live the lives of their parents, these young girls who are trained in schools and yet they are very calm, very sober, they are not vocal, yet they have the ability to be vocal, they have the ability, they have the knowledge, and they have the expressive, so it's society. How do we change society? We must move to how we change society. How do we change society? We need to have women who become leaders, anchors of this process. Just like in politics, you have godfathers. The godfathers are just men who are there through the time, thick and thin, and the young men see them as reference points. We have not been consistently been able to see women who other women can see as a leader, as a gatekeeper, as a mentor. Sometimes it starts and all of a sudden it clips off, you know. So how do we as a country, how do we as a gender put together this? Because even those who do politics, they do not have godmothers. They still want to stem off those godfathers. And godfathers do not really care. Maybe that's not a right word, but that's just the fact. They do not really care about the female gender unless it is their daughters.
We still have a lot more to do as regards involvement of women in politics and leadership. Well, I hope we'll have time to discuss this more better some other day. Well, I was been speaking with an occupational therapist, Victoria Amo. Thank you for your insights on the news this hour.
Thank you for having me. Happy Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. We're still watching The World Now on TVC News. We'll be back with more stories after this break. Stay with us.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Thank you for staying with us on The World Now. We move now to Africa, where the combined funeral service of the Wigwe held at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Lion of Judah Parish, Isiopol, Rivers State. Present at the ceremony were dignitaries, family, and friends who came to pay their respects. Recall that Mr. Wigwe, his wife Chizoba, and son Chize, and a former group chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Group, Abimbola Ogubanjo, lost their lives on February 9, 2024, in a helicopter crash which occurred near a border town between California and Nevada, United States. I'll bring you more details of that in the subsequent bulletins. And now to security matters. Over 3,500 incidents of terrorist attacks were recorded in the ECOWAS region in 2023, with Burkina Faso having the highest, with over 9,000 fatalities. This, according to the ECOWAS Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security, has made Burkina Faso overtake Afghanistan as the most terrorized country in the world. Moya Thomas has more details on this.
The Sahel region has been of great concern over issues of insecurity. This seemed to be on the increase as Burkina Faso is experiencing alarming cases of attacks. The attacks, compounded by political insecurity, has a great impact on food security. At this media briefing, the Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security highlights some of the political challenges in the region.
Afghanistan used to hold #1 position. Today it is Burkina Faso, with about 60% or so of the country under terrorist occupation. In just the 3 equal Sahelian countries, a total of 4.8 million people face food insecurity. 2.4 million people were internally displaced, and close to 9,000 schools remain closed in the region. Disaggregation of the data showed that Burkina Faso had the highest number of food insecure people, close to 2.2 million.
He used the opportunity to remind the region that its strength lies in its 15 member states and its cross-border collaboration. He is optimistic that Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso has enough time to reconsider its letter of exit.
So it is within 1 year. So we are still very much within that period. The decision to withdraw came in February. We got all the way up to the next of February to try to resolve the issues. And ECOWAS is doing everything that we can, because in our unity lies our strength.
And as Ramadan approaches, families in Gaza are torn apart and grieving their lost members. Bereaved Palestinian woman, Makbula Soliman, is going to spend Ramadan without her offsprings who are under the rubble after an Israeli attack. We have details in this report.
Displaced Palestinian woman Makbula Soliman will have to spend the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan this year without her sons and grandchildren, who were all killed inside their house in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza Strip, when it was bombed by Israeli forces late last year. The bodies of her sons and grandchildren have been under the rubble since December 31st, causing an indescribable agony to the displaced Palestinian woman as she recounts what happened.
I am the mother of 2 martyrs, Midhat and Mohammed Rashad al-Astar. Muhammad, his 3 daughters, his son and his wife were all killed. Midhat, his 3 sons, 1 daughter and his wife were all killed too. God has bestowed martyrdom on all of them. I appeal to the Red Cross to grant them a decent burial. As of the 31st of December until this day, they are still under the rubble of their destroyed house. This is the worst Ramadan for us. We have lost 12 sons and grandchildren.
With such a large number of her family members lost, except her youngest son Khalid and his little family, the bereaved mother and grandmother will be spending Ramadan this year with a bitterness that has left a scar on her heart. Khalid, the youngest son, tried to console his mother, but he knows how hard it is for her.
May God bestow patience on my mother. We accept anything that God ordains. It is so hard for her though. She could not believe what happened. She would tell me at times to go back home to find them. I kept telling her that I had seen the house destroyed while they were inside. She didn't believe me. I was the first to go to the site after news of the shelling attack. I told her that my brothers had been killed. She didn't believe me and called me a liar until I showed her a clip of the wrecked house. Ramadan this year is not going to be the same. It will have no taste. I lost my brothers. We used to spend Ramadan together and visit them and our maternal and paternal aunts. I still can't believe that I will spend Ramadan without them.
Ramadan will never be the same for Khalid, who spoke as he held his youngest child for fear he could lose him too in this ceaseless Israeli war that has been waged on the enclave since October 7th.
And to a bit of sports now, Nigerian-born British boxer Anthony Joshua has knocked out Francis Ngannou. And that's the world now on TVC News. For more updates on the stories we are monitoring, you can visit our website on www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and on X at TVC News NG. And on YouTube, we are live at TVC News Nigeria. Thanks for watching.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
President Bola Tinubu has announced the total removal of fuel subsidy.
The fresh subsidy is gone. What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major